Today we'll be talking about 7 uncomfortable things people find so hard, to admit to themselves. Adi, what do you think?
I think that that's why we do this program, Tea or Coffee. That's one of the things we do on Tea or Coffee. We make people address particular truths because we open conversation about those things, so that the viewers at home can begin to think, relate these conversations back to themselves. And so if these are not things that you are actually personally thinking about, don't worry. We are going to help you think through them. All right. So the first one, the first truth, that we need to admit to ourselves is that grudges, regrets, and resentment are mental prisons, and some of us are serving life sentences. It's time to free yourself. Grudges, regrets, and resentments are mental prisons, and some of you are serving life sentences. It is time to free yourself. I think it takes a lot more energy to keep a grudge than to fix a relationship. It takes a lot more energy because, for instance, you don't like a person, they crack a joke. You actually find that joke person, but because you actually find that joke funny. But because you are keeping a grudge with the person, you will now be holding your laughter. that's oh my God. That requires so much energy. Like, I don't have time for that. And that's what I mean, It takes so much energy to keep a grudge than to actually fixing a relationship. Like when they say things, I read it somewhere, that you use more muscles frowning than smiling. That is literally the same thing, with this mental prison of grudges, even regrets. I particularly hate regrets. I really do not like regrets. If I make a mistake, I acknowledge my mistake, I admit my mistake, and I move on. I forgive myself. That is, forgiving myself is one thing that I was not really good at, but I had to learn how to forgive myself. You understand? It's that concept. It can be new to people because you're like, what do you mean forgive myself? Like, I made a mistake. I should own up to it. I should be punished or whatever. I should be disciplined. But you will live through the consequences of your mistakes. But as you're living through the consequences of your mistakes, remember to forgive yourself. So you're able to free yourself from that mental prison.
I really like the angle you took it from forgiveness. So I believe a lot of us, we've been in one situation or the other where, we've been hurt by people we care about or we love. And then you'd realize that if you constantly hold a grudge, if you constantly regret being friends with that person, you just be doing yourself a lot more harm than good. Because the person you're holding a grudge against might not even be looking at you, or might have even forgotten that you're holding a grudge. The person might not even, it's funny how you're fighting with someone. The person you're fighting with does not know you're fighting with the person.
Exactly.
It's really funny. And then you're really angry at yourself. You're angry at the fact that this person is not even noticing that you're angry.
Your anger.
So there's this back and forth with holding grudges, regrets. Yes, it has happened. Move on.
Exactly.
We already know that, which is why I would often say it's very important that as individuals, right, we are able to see past mistakes. Because when we take mistake as, it has happened, my life has this, there's a way it dampens our mood. There's a way it makes us feel a certain way, really. And if we often see mistake as the end, right, we will not truly progress. Yes, people have hurt you. Do we like being hurt? No, nobody likes being hurt. But it has happened. Let us move past it. You've done some things that, even personally, you've done some things that probably you did not like or you regret. Forgive yourself and move on.
Exactly.
If you dwell on that issue, you would only remain stagnant.
Exactly.
You would not move. That is one thing, regret, holding grudges does to people. You would be in one spot. Even when others are, pushing ahead, because you still have that negative feeling, because these are actually negative feelings, because you still have them and you're still holding them to heart.
Yeah.
It's not allow you to see past life and what life has to offer.
Yeah.
So it's very important that, grudges, resentment, regrets, we move past them.
Exactly.
It might not be easy.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done,
Yeah.
right? But it's just very important that we can see past all of these things and say, regardless of all of this that is happening, I am willing to forge ahead and I forgive everybody. Because if God was to actually take each and every one of our sins and say, you know what, I will not forgive you. I don't know where it would be today, really.
Yeah, okay, so I want to bring a personal experience with Kemi. On air, so that we can actually learn from this. So Kemi and I were butting heads, I think, on Friday. You were annoyed with me, weren't you?
Of course I was.
Was it Friday?
I think it was last week Friday, yeah.
Yes. So she was, I think, this is
okay,
truth.
This is actually Truth
Tuesday. So we're laying it out all bare so that you can know, the reason why I like doing these kind of things. The reason why I like bringing personal experiences, especially, with my colleagues, is so that you understand that,
even we?
Yeah, a lot of people see on-screen people sometimes as like different from or because we're saying these things, a lot of people think that we are also a work in progress, as
definitely.
people. So last week Friday, I think I got on Kemi's nerves.
Yes, it really got on my nerves.
And she said that I was invalidating her emotions and her feelings. That's the word you used.
Yes.
She said it twice. that was invalidating. And there's something Kemi did that I liked and I appreciated. Because we were actually having a production meeting, right? And after the meeting, she pulled me aside and she demanded that we have a conversation about it. And we had a conversation. There was no back and forth. Then we realized that it was a little back and forth, but we realized that the problem was misunderstanding and miscommunication. Really, if, for instance, Kemi, if you didn't do that, we probably wouldn't have. If we left it like that, then that grudge and that gap in the friendship and the relationship that we have is just getting, they're getting deeper and wider and wider. So, that is what you need to do with, for instance, people in your life that have hurt you. Do not wait. Address it on site. I'm actually, a big fan of that. Address it on site. Whatever is bothering you, this person has hurt you in a particular way, address it on site. All right. So the next truth that we have for you this morning.
Okay, it says, solitude will always be more kind to you than surrounding yourself with circumstantial friends.
Yes.
I really, really love this particular one.
Right.
So, of course, the phone lines will be open. We would also like if you can join these conversations, share your experiences, basically, communicate with us. Let us hear your experience while we share our own experience with you too. Okay, so this next one says, solitude will always be more kind to you than surrounding yourself with circumstantial friends. Now, just in case you're wondering, what is circumstantial friend? This is my own definition of a circumstantial friend. Friends that only stay by you when things are smooth. Friends that their stay is dependent on your circumstance. Right? Okay. Ade is at this particular moment in Ade's life, everything is rosy. You have friends that surround you, friends that want to be by you, that seem like they are trying to support you, but it's the favor or the things they can get from you. That is why they are your friend at that particular moment. Trust me, the moment that circumstance change, they change. Their friendship changes.
That's true.
That is what I call circumstantial friends.
I understood it as forced friendships.
Forced friendships,
I think that makes more sense.
Friends.
I think that makes more sense.
Kind of like still the same thing. So, and I feel like a lot of us, we really need to start to enjoy our own solitude. Being alone, right? Because I believe it's you giving yourself that gift of peace. When you're alone, I feel like some of us, we try as much as we can to run away from being alone because that is the time that you self-reflect.
Yeah.
No matter, see, your true self comes to play when you're actually alone, on your own. Now, when you are on your own, there are a lot of, thoughts that would come up. Now, what you're able to think about at times might actually define you. And this is why I say this. So, if you're alone and you can sit down to think about your life as an individual, to sit down and think about the things that make you or mar you, the things that make you a better person, the mistakes. Basically, you being alone is you self-reflecting, is you trying to understand everything that has happened with you and how you can push forward. Now, at times, your solitude is not you. You know that we had that conversation. We had that conversation on solitude and why solitude is not loneliness. Now, your solitude is not loneliness. It does not mean that you're alone, because at that moment you decided to actually be on your own, to be able to think about some things, to be able to self-reflect. While you're self-reflecting, you'd realize that you start to notice some things that you did not notice while you were surrounded by people, right? And like I said, a lot of us, some of us, we try to, avoid our solitude because we do not want to this is one truth again. We are trying to avoid, coming face to face with the truth, with ourselves. It's like when we're taking the very first tip, I said, it's very important that we learn to first be vulnerable with ourselves. If we can tell ourselves some certain truth, I believe that is the bet of a new us to begin with. It is way better, honestly, to enjoy your own solitude than to surround yourself with friends that do not really care about you, friends that cannot tell you the truth, friends that are trying to conceal the truth just because of some certain favor that they're trying to get from you. It is very important that we talk to ourselves. Let us learn to enjoy our own solitude, because while we are doing that, we are able to really dig deeper into our lives. We are able to really talk to ourselves. We are able to call ourselves out. At times, self-criticism matters a lot, really. But it now depends on how you go about the self-criticism. Do not criticize yourself to the extent that you start to, you start to feel a certain way about yourself and you feel like, you know what, I deserve everything that has happened to me. Of course, when you see that something is not good in your life and you are the cause, it is okay to call yourself out and say, you know what, I know, Kemi, you are the reason as to why you've not done this and that, because probably I procrastinated, or, when you call yourself out, when you're able to be vulnerable with yourself, when you're able to tell yourself the truth, even when you're surrounded by circumstantial friends, hardly would they be able to have that impact on your life, because first you have been able to impact yourself. So it's going to be hard for someone to just come out and start. Do you understand? So it is very important that we start to enjoy our solitude, really, because it does not mean that you are lonely. It simply means that you're trying to give yourself that gift of peace, and also to understand and intentionally self-reflect, because that can also be, it depends. You can be alone and still not even want to think about all of those things and find other distractions even while being alone. But then I feel like that takes the essence of solitude out of, do you understand?
The thing about solitude again is that when you are, so solitude is not loneliness, because loneliness means that you are demanding for some company that you are not getting. But solitude means that you are not demanding for any company, because you yourself, you are great company. I was making a joke with a colleague yesterday, and I said, I talk to myself sometimes. I don't know if that's a bit worrying. And then he said to me, I think every normal person should talk to themselves. And that really, got me, because I was actually, yes, I agree with you. Every normal person should, talk to themselves from time to time. The good thing, the positive effects of solitude is that, taken from what you've just said, is that you are able to actually navigate between any group of friendship. Different circles of people, different circles of friendship. Now, when you are lonely, you demand attention, and you are kind of specific about the kind of attention you want. So like if you are with a particular person and you're not getting that particular attention, you go somewhere else and you gotta look for it. Do you understand? Like for instance, like you like people that tell you your hair is beautiful. That's kind of attention
People that
you like.
always compliment you, basically.
But then they keep complimenting your nails, for instance. You want them to talk about your hair, but then they keep talking about your nails, and you're like, this friendship is not working. So then you go and look for another one. That person talks about your shoe. This friendship is not working. Go and look for another one. This new person talks about your jacket. My point is that, like, when you're a lonely person, you are seeking attention, a particular kind of attention. And when you're not getting it, but when you're solitude, because, for instance, you love yourself, or you accept yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
You understand yourself. You're self-aware.
Yes.
You can navigate between different circles of people because you're not looking for attention from them for the first instance. They are not determining your mood or your feelings. Like, you are in control of your yourself, energy. Yeah. You are in control of your happiness. You're in control of your mood. Whether it's swinging or not, you are fully in control of it. So when you're a solitude person, you're able to even network better. When you are somebody who enjoys their own company, people would enjoy your company because you are at home in your skin, and people would want to talk to you. When you're a lonely person, you become a yes man. Like, because you are lonely and you need attention. You have found attention, you don't want to lose it. So whatever that person says, exactly. So whatever that person says, even if it doesn't make sense, you're like, yes, it's true, I agree. You don't agree.
No sense of self.
No sense of self. You do not agree, but because you require that attention and you need that company that you are begging for, you just, but as a solitude person, if someone says something that you don't agree with, you're like, actually, because you've had particular conversations with yourself, you understand your opinions and you are able to actually express yourself much better. So
I think I really like the angle at which you really brought it
all right,
from.
so the next one this morning. Your life changes when you become wise enough to admit that most of your pain is self-inflicted. No one else is hurting you. I'm going to read that again. Your life changes when you become wise enough to admit that most of your pain is self-inflicted. No one else is hurting you. All right. So, most of the things that happen to us, we're not particularly in control of every external factor around our life. What we are in control of is internal, the things that are happening internally. So what that means is that you're not in control of the external factors around you, and they can have an effect on you. What your responsibility is how you react to those things, how you manage those situations, how you deal with particular problems. Do you roll around in a mud of problems, or do you find water of solution to clean yourself? Do you understand? That's just poetry, little poetry for you. But so it's how are you dealing with? You are not in control of the things around you. You're not completely in control of them. What you are actually in control of is your reaction to those things that are happening around you. That's what I understand from that, essentially.
So some situations would warrant us to intentionally question ourselves, really. But I think I agree with you because, yes, a lot of things would happen to you. A lot of people would, get on your nerve and all of that. Things would definitely happen, but it is how you choose to, undo the situation. You are not responsible for the people around you. You're not responsible for the situation at times. But then again, moving on, right? It is what happens from there on that would determine, how you are able to cope with whatever it is. Because see, if you, as an individual, have you been in a situation whereby what happened wasn't your fault? the fault was not from you, but you were blamed because of how you handled the situation.
Yes.
It was so glaring that this, in fact, everybody even told you that it's not your fault, right? But it's your fault because of the way you chose to handle it.
Yeah.
So yes, it might not be your fault, right? But it becomes your fault the moment you choose to react to it or use the wrong approach for whatever situation it is that you're dealing with. So, I mean, like the write-up says, your life changes when you become wise enough to, you know, admit that most of your pain is self-inflicted and no one else is hurting you.
You know, there was a time where I was looking into a mirror and I was talking to myself. I was saying particular things to myself. Particular things on the lines of, Ade, you're not good enough. You can be better. Like, look at your life. Do you understand? I was essentially, you know, I was being hard on myself. And I was like, and then I realized what I was doing. And I said, what? No. Ade, you're beautiful. Like, come on. You know, like, I was just like, look, Ade, come on. No, you're not. You're wonderful. You're wonderfully made. You're fantastic. You made some mistakes. That's fine. We're not living in those We're not living in those mistakes. We are focusing on, you know, we're focusing on redemption. We're focusing on redeeming those mistakes and making the best out of our life. Leave that voice. You know, and this, honestly, was a real life situation. I was literally, at a time in my life, I would, you know, when I was doing that, you know, looking in the mirror saying, oh, Ade, you're not good enough. That's where it would have ended. And then I'll go to bed thinking, oh, God, I'm actually not good enough. But,
because you would meet people that would actually even want to prove that negative affirmation.
Yes.
And when because you've already told yourself that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Right?
When another person says, you're actually not good enough, because you've had that conversation and you said those things to yourself, you're like, yeah, I know.
Like you just take everything
and that is an example of self-inflicted pain. Why are you saying to yourself that you're not beautiful? Why are you saying to yourself that you're not good enough? Why are you saying to yourself that you're not worthy of happiness? That is you know, self-inflicted pain, and that's essentially what this truth is trying to say. You know, most of the negativity in our life comes from the conversations that we have with ourselves. You know, so you need to fix those conversations so that, you know, you are able to fix that. Those self-inflicted pain is not just you taking a blade and cutting yourself. You know, that's physical harm. I'm talking about emotional and mental harm. The emotional, you know, a lot of the time we don't actually address the emotional and mental harm we do to ourselves. Physical harm, you know, is very glaring. You know, for instance, you know, smoking, you know, drinking excessively, you know, you're harming your body when you do those things, right? But you know, a lot of focus is on those kind of things, but a lot of focus is not on the emotional and mental harm, the kind of conversations, the kind of things you say to yourself when no one's listening. You need to fix those things. You know, you need to change the narrative of the conversations what you're having with yourself.